This video will cover the 6006 Sprinkler Monitoring Panel. The 6006 Sprinkler Monitoring Panel provides 6 zones. It has 1 Class A or B zone and 5 Class B zones. All zones are capable of powering 2-wire smoke detectors. It also has 1 notification appliance circuit. It is 24 volts and provides ½ amp of power. It will have the ability to run up to 7 Potter HS 24 horn strobes set at 15 candela. It also has 1 AUX Power circuit, which is also 24 volts and provides 0.5 amps of power. You can also connect an LCD annunciator to the PFC 6006 Sprinkler Monitoring Panel. This allows for silent and reset. You can have a total of 4 LCD annunciators connected to the 6006. The 6006 also has a built-in dialer. It is a 2-phone line dialer that communicates SIA or contact ID. In addition, it has a built-in IP communicator. It is listed with a DSC SureGuard IP receiver. It can be used standalone or with the phone lines. In addition to the IP communicator, it also has a few other features using that Ethernet jack. It also has email features. It'll send out reports such as a history report. It'll also send out emails when events happen, and it can also be set up to send out email reminders. It can also be connected to our facility management tool. In this particular recording, we will cover the PFC 6006 installation, panel startup, as well as the PCOM network capabilities. Starting with the PFC 6000 panel installation. Opening up the door of the PFC 6000 series sprinkler monitoring panel, you'll find a dead front covering the components of the motherboard, and you'll find space to mount 2 8 amp hour batteries, as seen here in this picture. Removing the dead front, you will have access to all the terminals with which to make your connections. We're going to look at all of these terminals in greater detail. Zooming into the motherboard, you can see all the terminal connections, and we're going to start with the input connections, inputs 1 through 6. These conventional zones come pre-programmed out of the box. Zone 1 is a water flow zone. Input 2 or Zone 2 is a smoke detector zone. Input 3, Zone 3 is a pull station zone. Input 4 or Zone 4 is a supervisory zone. And input 5 and 6 are both tamper zones. The end-of-line resistor required for all of these is a 5.1K end-of-line resistor. These zones can be programmed using the programming software to be any of the following things: pull station, water flow, supervisory, tamper, trouble, smoke detectors, or heat detectors. Again, out of the box, they come pre-programmed, as you can see here. Zone 1 is a water flow, Zone 2 is a smoke detector zone, Zone 3 is a pull station zone, Zone 4 is an supervisory zone, and Zone 5 and 6 are tamper zones. But they can be programmed to be any of the things in the list that you see here. Moving just to the left of the input zones, we find the NAC terminals, the AUX Power terminals, and the P-Link terminals. We're going to start with the NAC Circuit Programming. By default, the NAC circuit is a NAC general purpose circuit. It's a ½ amp and it is a 24 volt circuit. This panel has built-in synchronization for AMSECO, Potter Gentex, Wheelock, and System Sensor. Through the programming software, any of those sync protocols can be selected. Again, the default is NAC general purpose. The next set of terminals is the AUX Power terminals. This is ½ amp and it is 24 volts. The default setting for the AUX Power terminals is AUX constant, so it's 24 volt constant power. Through the programming software, you can set the AUX Power terminals to be AUX resettable, AUX door holder, and AUX door holder low AC. AUX resettable is a 24 volt constant power circuit that when the reset button on the front of the fire panel is pressed, the power will drop and the circuit will reset. AUX door holder is 24 volt power that will drop when there is an alarm condition or when there is a loss of AC. It is used to power magnetic door holds. AUX door holder low AC is also used to power magnetic door holds. It'll drop power to the doors when there is an alarm condition. However, when there is a loss of AC, it will hold the doors open for some period of time. The default is 15 seconds. Again, the AUX power terminals are set to 24 volt constant power as the default setting, and there's a half amp available on this pair of terminals. The next set of terminals are the P-Link terminals, positive, minus, and A and B. This is an RS-485 connection that is used to connect to remote enunciators. Up to 4 remote enunciators can be connected to the PFC 6006. The RA6075 remote enunciator provides the same capabilities as found at the fire alarm control panel. It provides a 2x16 LCD display screen. It can be installed on a single gang or 4-square backbox. It can be a maximum of 6,500 feet away from the fire alarm control panel using 14 gauge wire. And again, a maximum of 4 RA enunciators can be connected to the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel. When installing the RA6075, the remote enunciator is removed from the back box. The back box is pre-drilled for installing on a single gang or 4-square back box. It also has a conduit knockout in the middle back and on the lower bottom of the box. On the back of the LCD enunciator, you'll see 4 terminals for connecting your P-Link wiring. Zooming into the P-Link wiring, you need to make sure to keep your polarity straight, A to A, B to B, plus to plus, and minus to minus. The terminals are labeled on the back of the RA6075. There is also a dip switch for setting the address of the RA6075. You can have up to 4 RA6075s connected to the sprinkler monitoring panel, and they each need to have a unique address set by this dip switch, either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Next to the P-Link terminals, we have the PCOM RJ45 Ethernet jack. This jack is used for programming the sprinkler monitoring panel, as well as it is listed as an IP communicator to a central station. It can send information in the contact ID format or CF format, and it is listed with a SureGuard IP receiver. The IP communicator is programmed through the programming software. The PFC 6006 also comes with a built-in 2-phone line dialer. It is found in the upper right-hand corner of the PFC 6006 control panel. This can be programmed through the sprinkler monitoring panel keypad or through the programming software. It can send contact ID format or CF format to a central station. It has built-in line seizure to capture the phone line to send the signal to a central station. When installing the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel, the panel needs to be installed on an interior wall in a conditioned space. The panel is tested within the conditions that you see on this slide. The panel does need to be properly grounded, and you can see the dimensions of the panel are 18.5 by 14.25 by 4 3/4. The PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel does come in a black or red cabinet. When connecting the batteries to the battery charging terminals, the charging voltage off the terminals is 27.3 volts. In the event that you have a battery trouble, first check the battery terminals for the proper voltage. You should see 27.3 volts. Batteries should be sealed lead acid batteries. That is a fire alarm requirement. This enclosure will house up to 2 18 amp hour batteries, and the panel will charge up to 2 18 amp hour batteries. There's a battery calculation tool that you can find on our website for determining the proper standby battery size. Normally, a requirement of 24 hours of standby and 5 minutes of alarm is required for your battery backup. We're now going to talk about panel startup with the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel. There are 2 options when starting up a PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel. You can either install it without a computer or with a computer. When installing the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel without using a computer for programming, the first step that you need to take is installing all of your devices on the appropriate pre-programmed zones. Zone 1 is water flow, Zone 2 is smoke, Zone 3 is pull station, Zone 4 is a supervisory, and input 5 and 6, or Zone 5 and 6, are tamper zones. Step 2 would be to run the learn through the control panel keypad. This step only needs to be done in the event that you have remote enunciators connected to the system. If you are not using a remote enunciator, an RA6075, then there is no need to do step 2. There is another video that you can find on our website that walks you through the steps of how to run the learn through the keypad of the 6006. Step 3 would be to program the dialer through the 6006 control panel keypad. Again, there is a video that can be found on our website that walks you through the steps of programming the dialer, the 2-phone line dialer, via the control panel keypad. Once you are done with steps 1, 2, and 3, the next step would be to test the system, and your system should be ready to go. Again, you can find the additional videos on our website for programming the dialer through the control panel keypad, as well as running the learn through the control panel keypad in the event that you have remote enunciators connected to it. Your other option when installing the PFC 6006 is to use the programming software to customize the input zones, as well as program all of the other features through the panel's programming software. The first step that you will need to do is install the software on your computer. The software can be found on our website, www.pottersignal.com. The PFC 6000 programming software is used for all of our panels, including the addressable line. Download the software to program the PFC 6006, and that same software can be used to program all of our addressable panels, the PFC 6030, 6075, 6200, and 6800. The next step would be to get your devices installed on the input zones. Remember, the input zones can be programmed as pull station, water flow, supervisory, tamper, trouble monitor, smoke detectors, and heat detectors. Each input zone can be customized through the programming software. For example, you could have all zones be programmed as smoke detectors. Also keep in mind that only input 1 or zone 1 can be a Class A zone. Once you have your devices installed, you move on to step 3. If you have remote enunciators, RA6075s connected to the system, run the learn through the control panel keypad to find those remote enunciators. If you do not have remote enunciators connected to the PFC 6006 system, you can skip step 3. Moving to step 4, we now connect our computer to the control panel keypad using a straight through or patch cable or a crossover cable, and run an upload using the programming software. Step 5 is to customize the program with the programming software. In the programming software, the input zones can be modified under the points section. Each input zone is considered a point in the programming software. The points are then assigned to a software zone under the zone section of the programming software. By default, the 6006 programming software has each point assigned to a software zone. For example, input 1 on the PFC 6006 fire alarm control panel is actually point 3 in the programming software and is assigned to software zone 1. When a point is assigned to a software zone, it will trigger any output points assigned to that same zone. For example, by default, input 1 water flow, or point 3, is assigned to zone 1. The NAC circuit on the PFC 6006 is also assigned to zone 1. When the water flow activates, the NAC circuit will turn on. All of these things can be modified if desired in the programming software. Once that customization is done, you can download that back into the 6006 and then test your system, and your system should be ready to go. You can find additional videos on our website that show how the programming software works, as well as how to run the learn through the control panel keypad. The last feature that we're going to cover is the PCOM network connection of the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel. The PCOM connection can be connected to your customer's existing network. When that network connection is made, the panel has built-in DHCP, which stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. What that means is that the panel is going to try and obtain an IP address automatically to communicate on that customer's network. If that network does not have a DHCP host computer or server computer, you may need to talk to the network administrator in order to assign a static IP to the PFC 6006 panel. A static IP can be assigned through the programming software of the PFC 6006. Once the PFC 6006 is connected to a customer's network, the customer can upload and download the programming software of the PFC 6006 over that local network. In order to do that, the customer needs to know the IP address or the panel's name or net BIOS. The panel's name or net BIOS is assigned from the factory and can be found on a sticker as seen here in this picture. If the sticker is missing and the IP address is unknown, those things can also be determined by going through the control panel keypad into System Tools and then Ethernet Tools. Again, once these things are known, the customer can upload and download the programming software and the history of the PFC 6006 over their local network. In addition, the PCOM connection, when connected to a customer's network, is also listed as an IP communicator to a central station. It is listed with a SureGuard IP receiver. For programming the IP communicator, please refer to the programming software video. In addition to uploading and downloading over a network and IP communication, the PCOM connection also allows the customer to send and receive emails from the PFC 6006 fire alarm control panel. The PFC 6006 comes with a built-in email address. It is going to be the host name, the panel name at potterlink.com. And again, that panel name can be found on a sticker as seen here. For example, an email address could be pfc6006000105 at potterlink.com. So that it comes out of the box ready to send emails. Through the programming software, you can customize who gets the information from the fire alarm control panel. Your email options include receiving status emails such as alarms, supervisories, and troubles. You can also receive history reports and up to 8 scheduled reminders. For details on all of these email options and how to program that, please refer to the following videos. The last thing that the PCOM network connection can provide is access to the Facility Management Tool software. The Facility Management Tool can connect up to 255 Potter fire alarm control panels over a local or wide area internet network. It allows the customer or installer to remotely view, sort, print, and file system events for each panel that they are viewing. It can be exported into Excel or Word documents. It also has a keypad emulation mode to view exactly what the keypad says at the fire panel on your computer screen. For more information on the Facility Management Tool, please refer to the Facility Management Tool video. To recap the PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel, this panel has 6 conventional zones that do come pre-programmed. It has a 1 amp power supply that is used for the 1 NAC circuit, which has a half amp, and the 1 AUX Power circuit, which also provides a half amp of power. It has a built-in Ethernet port, which is a UL listed IP communicator. It has also the email capabilities, as well as its ability to connect to the facility management tool. In addition to that, it has a built-in 2-phone line Telco DACT. You can connect up to 4 remote annunciators, and as always, we have a 5-year warranty with all of our fire alarm products. The PFC 6006 sprinkler monitoring panel fits in perfectly for monitoring a sprinkler system, providing 2 paths of communication which complies with the 2013 NFPA 72 fire alarm codebook. In addition, it is easy to install without using a computer to program it. However, if you'd like to customize it, our computering software is very user-friendly. Please refer to the other videos on the PFC 6006 for the programming software and for programming the dialer through the keypad. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.